All right, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are around the world. I'm just trying to make sure my signal has gone through to LinkedIn. So if you would drop in the comments where you are, which platform you're on. Hello, Teresa Marshall on Facebook. Thank you so much. And I am live on Facebook as well as IG Live, as well as YouTube events and LinkedIn Live and Twitch TV. I'm trying to, okay, I think I may have just gotten a signal across other platforms. Hello, Jones Love. Thank you so much. Will both you and Teresa click share and have someone join us in this conversation? I would certainly appreciate it for you to join us on Passion Fridays. I'm Marcus Holmes, the HR Passion Guy. I'm excited to be here and to have you here, and to talk a little bit more about small wins and a couple of other things that I hope that you will allow me to share with you. So I'm excited to be here and to come to you every Friday at the noon hour at lunchtime, hopefully to kick off your weekend, and more importantly, to help make good usage of the close of your week as you focus and going into the next week. These are topics that we're passionate about. Sometimes we present passionate people who are living in the center of their passion and intersecting their purpose, and all things passion on Friday afternoon. So click share, whether you're watching us on the Marcus R. Holmes page or Loving Stuff on Facebook, on LinkedIn Live with Marcus R. Holmes, HR Passion on Twitch TV or YouTube events, and the Loving Stuff Passion Guy on Instagram, IG Live. I appreciate you being on all of those platforms, and I hope I said them all. I hope I said them all. I'm getting used to going live on multiple platforms, and I must admit, I'm having a good time. Though I'm not seeing you all on LinkedIn Live. It's not bringing up my events. Okay, I'm going to keep going. And of course, when I talk about small wins, I'm kind of talking about them in the context of the book, The Gratefulness Journey Every Day. What are you doing in the next 30 days to transform your life? It's a book, my first book that has made it to market. It is available now on Amazon in the paperback and in the ebook. It is a short read, just about 70 pages. So for anybody that is a reader on the go, it's a short read, but a powerful one, because it has 3 steps that you can put to practice right today. And in 30 days or less, you can have built a habit that will power your life. So I want to talk a little bit about that concept of habit, just a little bit. There's a lot of literature out there about habits and building habits. I invite you to read any of all of that. James Clear is a voice, a writer whose writing resonates with me. Among others, Jennifer Moss, who is in the happiness science space and gratitude space. Her writing resonates with me. But there are a number of writers across different genres who are talking about habits, because you can have a powerful life if you build into your life a discipline around habits. And I want to talk a little bit about habits, kind of in a multi-focused way, but a very basic way, I think. I want to talk about habits as they relate to gaining better self-care. Okay. I want to talk about a little bit about habits as it relates to gaining small wins. Okay. So a little bit about self-care and a little bit of small wins. I posted yesterday about self-care, and it's quite possible, I think I said, or very possible, that your how to self-care how you serve and honor yourself will increase the yearning or quiet the yearning of your future self. And what I meant to convey in that is that you can create habits that help to speak to the future self. You know, there is a future state of you, right? And so the habits that you create now speak to the yearning of that future self or the quieting of those yearnings in that future self. So, for instance, if you have a habit where you speak negatively about yourself, you can quiet the yearning of the positive affirmations that your future self needs to feed upon. Or if you decide that you're going to create a habit where you speak well of yourself, you could feed that yearning of your future self, because as we are created, a part of our ego wants to be affirmed and be reminded that we are of value. And I believe that is central to the self-care concept. Now, self-care, I believe, is related to this gratitude, gratefulness journey. Gratitude is more aspirational, right, as we describe it. But self-care is important because if you don't care for and about yourself, you aren't going to honor yourself and serve yourself well, and you will never believe that you are worthy of having better than what you have today. So to me, that starts with self-care. And I want to use this in the job context. Interesting comment. Thank you, Pastorine. I want to use it in the job context because many folks are in a job, looking for a job, wanting to get a new job. And even if you're an entrepreneur, someone is working for you, maybe, depending on the size of your company. If you're a CEO, someone is working for you. That self-care and worthiness is an important component to feed, sustain, and master. So you have to believe that you are first worthy of care. So for those of you that are in the interview context, and we've been talking over since I think December on and off about your 30, 60, 90-day journey to a new position or a promotion. And some of you have come back, thank you so much, and shared. You got that position, you got that promotion, you decided, you learned something new about yourself that you were going to work on and change. And I'm so excited for the many of you that have done that, that you have pivoted and positioned yourself for something different than what you had even imagined. It starts, though, that you have to believe that you're worthy of it. And what I find sometimes, a little more often than I'd like to find, and even on the newest social media platform, Clubhouse, there was a whole room last night about people who had angst around interviewing. And what I synthesized from that conversation and similar conversations, a number of them, quite a few of them, is that the average candidate has not convinced him or herself that he or she belongs in that interview room. Give me a like or a love across your platforms if you've ever been on an interview and like, I can't believe I got this interview. Why am I here? I'm so nervous. What if they don't like me? What if they don't want me? What if I do a horrible job? Give me a like or love if that's you across any platform. Okay. Yep. I'm still not seeing my LinkedIn folks, but I hope that you're here. And if you drop a comment, I'll know that you're here. It's just not showing me that you are here, unfortunately. I don't know exactly what's happening here. Yeah, it's not showing me that. Okay. I'm still trying to connect with you. It says I'm live there, but I don't see you. Okay. If you've ever been in that situation, I think before you get to that situation, you should be doing some convincing. You should be doing some speaking to yourself, and that's part of self-care. Have you ever noticed that you are more anxious or maybe more frustrated or maybe more, your mind seems more frazzled when you haven't had a good night's sleep or you got a late start, right? And people are always saying that night before the interview, make sure you get a good night's sleep. It's important because your body needs to be on reset, right? Because when your body has been on reset, it's ready to handle this sensation of fight or flight very differently, and it can help you handle it better, right? But even if you haven't gotten that good sleep, which is the recommendation, because that's self-care, that's caring about you and serving yourself well with the rest that you need, right? Some say, don't sleep with the TV on. Some say don't sleep with background music. Some say that's perfectly fine. You have to find what works for your body to ensure that you feel most rested. I'm a proponent that you do turn off the TV, right? At a space and point in my life, there was no TV in my bedroom. I didn't put one in there purposefully because I just wanted that to be a place where I slept, reflected, read. No TV there. But that's a personal preference and choice. You can always find a space or create a space in your home where you don't have noise, right? But the deep rest is the best reset, right? And it's a way that you tell your body that I'm serving you well. I'm giving you the sleep. And of course, the nourishment, right? Not overeating. As a foodie, sometimes I may do that, right? So I got to watch that and be careful as a foodie. Just food and food and food and food and, right? I love food. And I'm telling my body something when I overdo that, right? You have to honor and serve yourself well. Okay. And when you do that, you have a clearer mindset, and the goals that are in front of you seem clearer and more attainable. They are attainable, but sometimes they get cluttered. Okay. So you have to speak to yourself. And I heard another great colleague on LinkedIn talking about some of this in this way. There is this impostor syndrome that shows up, and you have to start to address the impostor syndrome. I want to share the small story with you on impostor syndrome. True story, and I will not say the name of the individual, but this individual has accomplished great things in her life. She has an earned doctorate degree. She's the first African American woman in leadership in her role in a $1 billion organization. She is a sought after speaker and coach, and she has the imposter syndrome. Now, how could that be? How do you get in all of these rooms with the movers and shakers and you're not clear that you belong there? Well, you've heard the saying, fake it till you make it. There are people who perform under pressure well, but really inside they're crushed and crumbling because they don't fully believe that they belong in the spaces that they are in. Smart and savvy, but hasn't reconciled it with herself. A leader and teaching others about leadership and philosophizing about leadership and leading others. But herself has the imposter syndrome. I don't belong. I really don't know what I'm doing. I can't believe I'm here. Who would let me in here? I'm going to fail. I don't know how to do this. I can't do this. Those are the voices in our lives that speak to us that we must challenge with self-care. And the words of self-care sound like this: I am. I am, and fill in that phrase. You may say all that God has said that I am. I am full of the potential needed to pull this off, needed to complete this task, needed to run this department. I am supposed to be in this interview because I am experienced, I am measured, I am poised, I am great, I am excellent at what I do. I am filled with great work experiences that this company would be grateful to have on its team. And you have to create those I ams, and however the words feel right to you, that speak back to those diminishing words that tend to diminish for you in your face your value. It would be as if an enemy had came in your face and said, you're not good enough. You're not able, right? Had to shake my finger in my head because I had an African-American mama. You'll understand that later. But you have to speak back to that enemy because those diminishing words are enemy to your self-care. If nobody else believes it, you must call back to it with words of affirmation until you are awakened to what you already know in the deep places of both your mind and your soul, that you are worthy to be where you are. And you have the power to change and move from where you are to where your future self is yearning for you to be. There is a future version of you, and you look great in the future. But what you do in present self-care can quiet that yearning. It can quelch the yearning for you to be greater if you give power to it. And it starts with the way you care for you. And when I say care for you, the way you honor and serve yourself. Now, people say, wait a minute, HR Passion Guy, self-serving? Self-serving is when you only serve yourself, right? It isn't against your grain to serve yourself. It's against your grain to serve only yourself. Something separate, okay? But you've got to be able to honor and serve yourself before you call yourself honoring and serving others. You must serve, live, work, deliver from a place of worthiness. And you must build that for yourself. That's why the self-care component is important to our gratefulness journey. And the self-care component is important to the wellness of your barometer of self. Do you believe that you're worth self-care? And most times, our self-care includes getting a manicure, bless your heart, get it, men and women, pedicure, please do, haircut, hairstyling, all of the makeups and things, right? We think of the outer beautification, even though manicures and pedicures help to serve some things that work inner too, right? But you got to think of inner too. So for instance, with your nails, right? You're getting the cuticles cut and cleaned and all of those things. Do you ever eat fibers and take some gelatin in because those things help your nails to grow and be healthy? Self-care inside out, right? Think of inside. Think of the care of your mind. Do you give yourself rest and periods of rest? And do you read? Do you read both to inform yourself of what's going on and to take you away from the present situation and circumstance so that you can read about other places and worlds and immerse yourself in those things? Do you nourish your mind? Do you nourish your soul by scriptures and meditation and preaching and teaching, listening to those things and positive affirmations and inspirational, motivational messages? Do you nourish your soul, right? Do you nourish your heart? Do you pick up the phone and get connected to the people that you love and that love you and the people that you want to love and that you want to love you? Do you jump on a Zoom cafe? Do you make connections, heart connections with people that deepen your relationship with them? Do you nourish care for your heart? Do you spend time in prayer and meditation and yoga to nourish your connection with the Creator who is God? Do you nourish yourself, mind, body, soul? Do you honor the mind, body, and soul that you've been given by not subjecting it to the traumas and dramas that you can avoid in life? Do you position yourself to walk drama and trauma free to the extent that you can control it? Honoring and serving yourself is the important part of self-care, because you have to know that you're worthy. You will not honor yourself. You will not serve yourself well in self-care if you don't believe you're worth it. And that translates into how you show up in that interview, how you show up in that third round of interviews, how you show up when it's time to negotiate that offer. One of those rooms I referred to on Clubhouse was telling people, just get in the organization, whatever they offer you. If you don't already have a job, even if it's less money than you made at the last one, take that offer and get in and try to negotiate within 6 months a different a merit increase or an early performance appraisal or evaluation review and a corresponding merit. And while that isn't the worst advice I've ever heard, it certainly isn't the best. I would say to someone who is deep into their self-care and understands their worth and the value of their position or the value of their offering to a position in the market, does not just settle. You don't just settle. You go in when they make you an offer and you say, this is a great organization. I am so glad that you made an offer. I agree with you. I think I'm a great fit for the organization, and the organization is a great fit for me. So thank you for this offer. I really do appreciate it. I'm looking forward to being able to starting in this position. But here's where I'm not so sure I'm set yet. The offers come in a little low. Here's my counter offer based on my research in the market and the value of this position and what I bring to it. And I know you may have to go back and consult with somebody. So I'd appreciate it if you could get back to me within 3 days on this counter, because I'm certainly open to joining your organization, but I have looked around a little bit. I'd like to close out this loop if at all possible. Let them come back with a counter offer that's closer to what you've offered, that you bumped up slightly, 2.5 to 5% above what you really wanted, and get closer to that offer. But if you're not honoring yourself, if you're not serving yourself, you'll go in and be grateful for the offer, and you should, but you'll just accept the offer. You don't know if you're coming in on the low end. You don't know if the colleagues in the organization are on the high end. You don't know. But what you do know is that they have put a dollar value on what you will bring. Now, an organization will never be able to pay you what you're fully worth, but they should be able to pay you what the market bears plus your experience. And negotiating from that place of confidence is important, but it generally doesn't happen if you are not honoring and serving yourself before that happens. It's the same with an interview. As I'm going back earlier in the process, you have prepared yourself, you have groomed yourself, you have reconciled whether or not your attire and groom fit in this organization and reflect who you would be in it. You have that new copy of your resume. You're going in there sharp. as we would say, sharp, right? And ready to go. You have consulted with the HR passion guy or someone similar who is saying, craft your responses to behavioral based questions and have you an inventory of questions. You won't have them with you. You will have rehearsed your responses to those questions, and you would have rehearsed them in a special format or style that includes, from a job context, some of the psychology we talked about to bring forward your authentic self, whether you are achievement motivated, whether you are affiliative motivated, or whether you are power motivated. You will lead from your strengths in developing those responses, and you will share those responses with confidence. But if you go into that interview and you haven't been serving yourself well and you don't honor yourself, which means you may not have had a good night's sleep, you didn't have some breakfast, or if it's afternoon, you didn't have a moment to refresh yourself, you didn't take some good clarifying breaths before you answer those questions to clear your sense of fight or flight when it's a question that you know the answer to, but it's not coming to you. You're taking in 3 deep clarifying breaths and exhaling through your nose and just repeat the question. If you aren't honoring and serving yourself well, you will begin to allow the impostor syndrome to set in. Why am I here? I knew I shouldn't have took this interview. This position ain't not gonna give me this job. Ooh, I don't know the answer to this question. What I'm gonna do? I should run out. All of those senses can rise up to you, and you have to be able to speak back to those things. And it will be easier for you to speak back to those diminishing thoughts if you have been honoring and serving yourself. You'll say to yourself when that voice says, see, I told you, you don't belong here. You ain't qualified for this. I'm so qualified for this that they asked me to come to this interview today. They asked me here. They have an interest in me. It does affirm to me that I belong here. And I belong anywhere where I feel a home, a space, a sanctuary that I might give and serve others out of the wealth that I have been given. I am prepared for this. I am qualified for this. I do belong in this interview seat, and I am prepared to answer these questions. Taking in that deep breath and breathing out, and you're just saying, one more time, can you repeat that question for me? And as the question's being read, you look around and be socially aware of the room and the tension that's in that room. And you speak to that tension. Tension, you can go away. I'm as comfortable with them as they are with me. I'm going to make them more comfortable with me with my response. Thank you for repeating that question. I get it now. Thank you so much. Let me tell you about a time. And you began to tell that story about that question. Or still, thinking through it, I'm not sure I've had that specific experience, but let me tell you about one that I think is very similar that brings me to a very similar end. On this day of such year, or this organization I did, you have to speak back to those diminishing thoughts and voices that are telling you that you don't honor and serve yourself well, therefore you don't belong. You should not be here. You're not qualified. If in the follow-up, they ask you questions like, looking at your resume, and we're really looking for, they're already trying to negotiate with your mind to say, we like you, but you don't quite have the experience, so we may offer you less, right? Say, well, while it's true I don't have 10 years experience, I think my 6 years experience is like 10 years. Here's why. You pique their interest. He's saying 10 years is equal to 6. How did he come up with that? Now, you better have an answer, right? You better be able to say how deep your experience was that wasn't atypical of 6 years, or why there is not as much difference between that gap as people might think. And you close in, but I appreciate, even though you didn't see 10 years, that you afforded me the opportunity to speak with you today. I'm still very interested and very qualified for the opportunity. Don't let them talk you out of what you have walked yourself into. You are worthy. You are ready. You are present. I want to transition from that part of the self-care, because I think that's where you start, and honoring and serving yourself for worthiness. That's where you start. I want to talk about the other part that I mentioned earlier, which I think is important and which is a part of our focus in this gratefulness challenge this week. And I think yes, I did. Our gratefulness journey every day is available on Amazon. And as we get to an everyday journey, we decided over a 7-week period to do a 5-day journey out of the 7 days: Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So we're in week 6, day 4 of the Gratefulness Challenge. And we're doing this week small wins. You know, small wins. When you say, I'm going to conquer the world. And because that's so lofty, you end up not doing anything. If I could just get started, I could conquer the world. I believe you. And after you have served yourself well and honored yourself well, you probably need to break up that big project or program into more sizable parts and achieve small wins that you can celebrate and move the needle. And you'll be surprised at how much more quickly you will move it. Of course, the favorite example and test that I offer to people is start right at home or right at work, in that corner in your office, or in that file room in the office, or in that basement, or in your closet that is in disarray. Anybody ever seen that? Let me know. Start there. And you will find that there's a whole lot to be done. And all you have to do is start small. Set your stopwatch for 3 minutes and start straightening, organizing, and cleaning. Stop when 3 minutes happens and say, great job, Marcus. Pat yourself on the back. You will be surprised at the sense of accomplishment that you will have, and that your brain has recorded it to remind you when you pass by the room again, you can do 3 more minutes and 3 more minutes and 3 more minutes, until before you know it, you've cleaned the entire room or space. Now let's apply that to the job context. It's a big undertaking to find a new job. It's almost a part-time job to find the ideal job. But you can break it into small parts. You can start with blowing the dust off your resume, right? And in 3 minutes, just 3 minutes, read your entire resume. If you cannot read your entire resume in 3 minutes twice, you probably need to edit it. Okay? That's 3 minutes. The next time you get back to it, take 3 minutes and start editing it. So did I really need to have 6 bullet points under this one job? What's the point? Why do I have so many bullet points? What are the top 3 if I'm doing 3 per job? Stop after 3 minutes. Great job. You started editing. And keep that until it's done. And then you can send it to another person to look at, to say, oh, I'd say this differently, or I'd do this, right? After you've done that, go back to that new improved resume and set the timer for 3 minutes and go through those bullet points and start to formulate responses to behavioral-based questions from those bullets. When you say you save the company 78% cost in this new automation that you created, excellent. Can you describe it? Did it require decision making? Did it require thinking systematically? Did it require gathering other stakeholders to approve it? What did you do to accomplish this? 3 minutes, time's up. Go back in the next 3 minutes and edit. Use different words. 3 minutes, time's up. After some time, you'll have a bank of responses to be able to explain everything on your resume. And now you're ready to review the HR Passion Guy's list of behavioral-based questions and fit in your responses to those, making sure that you're highlighting whether or not achievement is important to you, whether or not affiliation, being part of the group, is important to you, whether or not power and influence are important to you. 3 minutes. 3 minutes, 3 times a week. Go on a social media platform, set your timer, and go on just to network and connect with your first connections. 3 minutes, 3 times a week. Set your timer. Hey, Bob, I'm just checking in with you. Haven't talked for you for a while. Congratulations on that promotion. Just want to stay connected to you. You're a really great guy. Talk soon. Hey, Sheila, saw that you moved to a new organization. I'd love to hear more about how the journey's going for you. Let's catch up. Hey, Ahmad, let's jump on a Zoom call and let's just kick it for a bit. I'd love to run some ideas about my career pathing to you. 3 minutes, 3 times a week. Small wins. And where you can add value, right? Where they're saying, hey, could you take the survey for me? Sure. Hey, can you read my article? Sure. That builds for some connection. It deepens the connections that you have with them over time. But it starts with a small win. Those are the 2 things that I want you to think about that really start with your self-care and how that self-care shows up to inform you in positive affirmations in your life, and how it helps you to manage through to break down large things into small wins. When you honor and serve yourself well, while you have this Herculean vision, you begin to tell yourself, I can do this in small chunks. Most times when we aren't serving ourselves well, we don't see this as anything more than a large mountain. But the faith you need to move it, my friends, happens in small pieces. Join me tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as our newest show from our Facebook community, Love and Stuff. We'll talk about the NFL draft, that is happening as I speak. And they will share some great stuff with you tomorrow. Hey, Tab, thank you for joining us. They'll share some great stuff. It's Sports Talk with Felix and Kamal at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on tomorrow, May 1st. And then at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it will be Week 6, day 5, will wrap up our Gratefulness Challenge this week. As we have been talking about the 3-minute quick wins, we'll wrap up and give you the mic tomorrow on what your experience has been this week with quick wins and celebrating them. Remember, break down that big task into small projects, small chunks, and set your timer for 3 minutes and see how much you get done of that task. And when that buzzer goes off, tell yourself, great job. Don't tell yourself, I got 16 more to go. You don't do that. Just tell yourself, great job. Pat yourself on the back. You got your notes. You're going to note what needs to be done. But the purpose of the small win is for you to celebrate progress in smaller increments and not always look, oh, I got 29 more to go. Help me so I can get those 29. Nope. Great job. I completed this. Your brain records that, and it records the feelings, the chemicals, the hormones that are emitted, that are released. And when you come to that task again, you bring some more wherewithal. You bring some more stick-to-itness because your brain reminds you of that quick win. And you can do that quick win again and again. Thank you for joining us. I hope that you will click share and tag someone to join us in the comments, and to continue to share, whether you're on LinkedIn Live, on IG Live, on Facebook Live, Twitch TV, or YouTube events. The HR Passion Guy has a big thank you for you, and I hope that you will share this content if you feel it is of value to you. Don't forget to join us tomorrow. If you're a sports head, sports aficionado, join us with Kamal and Felix on Sports Talk at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, of course, our roundup is 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Gratefulness Challenge, Week 6, Day 5. As we go into our last week of challenges, we'll be in the Mother's Day week, or the week preceding Mother's Day, and we want to hear from you on lessons of gratefulness around your mom. What lessons do you have that your mom has shared with you, whether she is in the earth school or she is on the other side, an angel from the balcony of heaven, as it were? We want you to share those lessons in a 1-minute video or in a quick read that we can share throughout the week to encourage others to join us on the Gratefulness Challenge. I'm Marcus Holmes, the HR Passion Guy. Don't forget, the Gratefulness Journey every day is available on Amazon for your purchase, ebook or the paperback. We'd love for you to help us go 5 stars. We have 4.7 stars out of 5 and on the way to 5, I think, or as close as we can get. I know that you will enjoy it. It will help to transform your life in 3 simple steps that you can implement today. And in 30 days or less, you can be on a journey of gratefulness every day. Enjoy your day and have a grateful weekend. See you soon.